Welcome to Commander's Comments. I'm your producer for the evening, Harrison. Without further ado, here is our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy.
Thank you, Moose. I was waiting for you to unmute my mic there before I started talking because, I got a lot of words to say and I don't want to waste any of them. Thank you, Moose, for unmuting that muted mic for me. This is Commander's Comment. We're coming up on Turkey Day. Thank goodness. Yippee. I'm sure none of us have had enough to eat, and we're going to have a lot more come Thanksgiving. But we've had a lot going on in the Confederation, and we are very honored to have our Commander-in-Chief, the Honorable Jason Boshers. He's going to bring us up to date, tell us what's just some of the things. And I want to emphasize that some of the things that's going on, there's no way we could possibly tell you everything that the Commander-in-Chief has been doing, the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief's been doing, the Chief of Heritage Operations. We've been very busy working on your behalf for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. And with that, Commander-in-Chief, what's going on in your little old world? I'm down here in Louisiana. Anything happening up in Tennessee? Is it getting cold up there yet?
Well, they every time you watch the weather, they come up with new terminology to call the cold snap. As my grandparents would say, it's just no cold snap. Now they have to have all of these things. This is an Arctic splurge or whatever, all it is we have some cold weather move in, pretty cold for Tennessee, 23 this morning, but we got up to right around 60 today, and I think we're going to start leveling out a little bit more to normal. But I think it reached all the way as far down as Louisiana and Mississippi.
Yeah, it got down to about 31 degrees the other morning. I was looking for my long johns, I tell you. And it's 54 degrees right now. But, I'm sort of glad to see a little cool weather. I want some rain. So what's going on, Commander? Tell us, you got anything going on in as far as the donations coming into the museum or anything?
Well, yes, sir. We've had a lot of stuff come in, but how about we start off with the success?
All right.
Found out today. Raphael Semmes camp, number 11, down in Mobile, Alabama. As you know, the Raphael Semmes camp, the Raphael Semmes monument came down during the Summer of Love. And during the Summer of Love, it came down. I don't know exactly where it is. I've heard tales, but I do know that it's in storage. And, whether it'll ever be brought out of storage or given back to us is irrelevant at this point, as far as I'm concerned. What we're kind of focusing on is preserving what we have, and that's exactly what the boys down in Mobile have done. They have rescued the base from the city, and they have taken and placed it on SCV property in Fort McDermott. So they have 30 tons of granite that was the base for the Raphael Semmes Monument at Fort McDermott, which is SCV property. So we don't have to worry about it anymore. The plans are in place right now to have a replica of the statue made and put up. That further goes, they take them down, we put them up. And, would it be as wonderful as having the original? No. I guess if we all wanted anything, the first thing for it to be is back where it was. But since that's not a possibility, the next would be in SCV hands. And this is in SCV hands. And I want to thank the Raphael Semmes camp and the work that they have done. As you know, this is not an easy task, and they have accomplished a very difficult task. And I give those men a pat on the back and a job well done.
And they're going to let us know when they get ready to start fundraising for the replica statue for the Raphael Semmes. Raphael Semmes is one of my favorite Confederates. I mean, his book, Service While Afloat, is, if anybody hasn't read it, you have missed a wonderful writing.
It is just a great book. I mean, it is. If you just want to read a great book and not just think of it of a war between the states deal, it is just a great book. And all I know is they're putting the base up. They're going to get a replica made, and they have promised me they'd keep me in the loop.
Right.
So when they start that process, I was given permission to talk about this tonight, because sometimes when something like this happens, you're hesitant. They're hesitant to put the word out and afraid something's going to go back. But now they're not worried about it. It's been given to them. It is on SCV property. So, it's the word gets out. So in time, hopefully they'll let me know and we can get this out there.
Well, that's great. And, one thing about it, I've heard too many people say this, and I wouldn't challenge them publicly, but I've heard people say, well, once they go down, they never come back. Well, that's not necessarily so. The war ain't over. The fight's not over, not even with this generation. If this generation passes from the scene, if we do our job and do what we're supposed to, there'll be more monuments put up in the center of cities that are well-run, cities that are respectful to all parties. Just because something is taken down, just because it's destroyed, doesn't mean that it can't come back at a later date and it'll come back better. So that's my attitude. Don't ever fall into this thing, well, once it comes down, it's gone forever. Well, no, we'll put another one up somewhere else, and we'll work for the change in our society so that another monument can come back. We may have to contextualize that spot where that base was.
Yeah, and you are correct. When we start this, it's down. We might as well. No, the only way that happens is if you forget about it. Nothing is ended until it is forgotten.
Right.
And as long as you are working, and they have worked, this is not something that happens overnight. This tells you for them to do this, they have been working diligently to get the base back. And that tells you that there were a lot of conversations being had. And I wonder how many times around Mobile, Raphael Semmes Monument, those three words were said. So it wasn't forgotten. The only way that this ever ends is if we just forget about it and we don't do anything about it, and we go peacefully into the night. And I'm honest, I just got too big of a mouth to go peacefully into the night, But I wanted to start off with that success. That success.
And the folks in Mobile, the Raphael Semmes camp, it's a great camp. I know Donald has spoken to them. I've spoken, I think, years ago. I must have done such a terrible job they didn't invite me back, but that's all right. It's a great camp, a lot of fine people in it.
And they're a great group of guys, and they have worked hard. Congratulations to the Raphael Semmes Camp number 11, Mobile, Alabama. You have completed a difficult task. Now starts part 2. And if the Sons of Confederate Veterans can help you, all you do is let us know. And I want to thank them for that. And now let's talk about, since we were talking about the fundraising, let's talk about the SCV donation page. Generally about this time of year, or over the last few months, I've talked about the relief fund. And now let's talk about this whole SCV donations page, because I get a whole lot of questions about, well, can we contribute to this? Can we contribute to that? And you can go to scv.org, and then you will see a little bit down on the page, a donate. It's got a battle flag. You can click on that, and it brings up our donation page. And this is just a few of the things that you can donate to. The museum. As you know, we're always going to be raising money for the museum. I know that there's been talk about our debt and us taking care of the debt. And even when the debt is done, we're still going to be fundraising for the museum. It is just, if it is going to be our hearth and home to where we're going to be telling the story of the Southland from here on out, we're always going to be working on it. And if you're always working on it, you're always going to be putting money into it. So we're always going to be needing museum donations. Heritage Defense. And that's if you want to contribute to the Arlington fight, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. Then we have the Forest Plaza. And I want to give an update on how much money has been raised for the Forest Plaza. Right now, it is just a tick over $90,000. I checked today and got that number. We're going to have $150,000 before we can ever get serious about the conversation. And yes, sir.
I know my camp sent me a notice that they were sending in their $1,000 pledge. And I don't think that's in that $90,000 you got, because you probably hadn't got the check yet. But this is a little small 20-member camp here in Mandeville, Louisiana, and the NB Forest Camp 1931. And we raised $1,000 for that Forest Plaza. And I want to challenge all the other camps out there. If a little 20-member camp can do it, and as I recall, Larry, past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney, his camp is about that size. And I think he raised $2,000, didn't he? Mm-hmm. So it is more than possible, and we need to get that Forest Plaza done. It's going to be beautiful when we get through with it.
Oh, yes. And there's a lot of people that ask about it. And when's it going up? When's it going up? Well, it's going to go up when the membership raises the money to put it up, quite frankly. I hate to be that blunt, but that's the truth, and if it's the truth, it's the truth. And until the money's raised, the plaza's not going to go back up. Now, it's going to be put back like it was originally, like you saw it in Forest Plaza, 50 feet deep, 75 feet wide. And this is in the design of Charles Henry Niehaus. He is the one that designed the equestrian statue, and he's the one that designed the plaza. And he did so working with Nathan Bedford Forrest's son. Wow. So this was what the son wanted, talking with him and Charles Henry Niehaus come up with this design. So we're putting it back just like the son of Nathan Bedford Forrest wanted for his parents. And it's we have to raise at least $150,000 for we can get serious. Now, why that number? When we were first looking at it, because we're going to have to move so much dirt, and the pieces is going to be put together like a jigsaw puzzle. So the pieces are going to have to be brought in. They're too big to bring in with the front end loader. We're going to have a crane. Yes, sir.
Make sure everybody understands that we have the pieces from the original plaza. So, that's why we're putting it back together. So I don't know if everybody understands that, but we've got that in storage on site.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
A lot of stuff there.
Oh, yes. And it really is. We have everything. We have everything we need to put it back together, except for the financial resources to put it back together. This is not something that we can just, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. How many times have I been told SCV National spends money like a drunken sailor? Well, let me tell you this. As I heard a drunken sailor tell me one time, we stop spending when we run out of money. And I thought I would throw that little joke in there. But the thing is, if it's not in the budget, we can't do it. And this is not a budgeted item. So this is going to have to be fundraising to be able to do this. Now, like I said, all the pieces are there. We just need to raise the money to be able to do it. When we were originally had people come and take a look, they said, hey, you're looking at around $150,000. And we said, well, we'll set $150,000 as our goal. That was right after the reinterment. So now you're looking at 2 years ago. This could very well be $175,000 or $200,000 project now, because we all realize how much things have gone up over the past couple of years. So, $150,000 is a good starting point. But when we get to that point, as far as Plaza, that's something that you can contribute to. Another is Heritage Promotions. Heritage Promotions, in my mind, falls under an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Now, the gentleman that has joined me on this screen, he is one of the best at Heritage Promotions, and he might wish to speak a little bit about that. And if he does, I'll turn the floor over to him.
Well, we're not going. This is the commander's comment and update, not the Kennedy brothers or the one Kennedy here, but Absolutely, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. The time to defend your local monument is not when they start pulling it down. It's before it's even thought about. And that's why heritage promotion is so important. We may have a little more to say about that later, but,
Okay.
remember, don't wait until the enemy attacks and then you react. We don't want to be reactionaries. We want to make them react to us, and we got to be doing it well ahead of time, and get the people, the popular support behind us. And in many cases, the complaint will never be lodged, or it won't go anywhere, because the politicians already know that this is a subject that the people are behind. We're not going to talk about removing that monument. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're fine, and that's what
you're in trouble.
Oh, well, that's the reason why I wanted you to talk about it, because this falls under stuff that you can make donations to. And remember, go to scv.org. You'll see a battle flag over on the right that says donate. And this is one of those things that you can donate to. You know, we're not telling you to donate. We're giving you opportunities to donate to whatever is the most important thing to you. Then there's the Stan Waddy Scholarship Fund. Then there's the Confederate Legion, which you can join. You can also contribute to Elm Springs if you're the person. Our headquarters has an antebellum home that was started in 1835 and finished in 1837. If you want to see this home turned back, now this was home owned by the original family for 3 generations. It was bought outside of the family in the early 1900s. Multiple families have been here, lived there over the years, and they made changes to make it more livable for them, such as indoor plumbing and closets. And if you want to put the home back the way that it needs to, the way it was in 1840, there's always going to be maintenance, and there's always going to be something to do. And if you're the person that likes antebellum homes and you want to contribute, that's something for you to contribute to. Then we also have artifacts for the museum. That was something, that fund was started this year. It was actually started when they were talking about the sword from, who was the general that was killed up in Spring Hill? The jealous guy shot him. Somebody will jump on there and tell us in a minute. You know, when his sword come up, and that's when we decided to start the artifact fund. And you can contribute to that. Then we have the relief fund, and that is something that you've heard me talk about over and over. That is where we're able to help. Yeah, Van Dorn. Thank you, Adam. Earl Van Dorn. When we were, I couldn't think of it. I was trying to think about what I was going to say next and couldn't pull the name out. This relief fund is Brother Helping Brother, and this is where we have the storms coming through, tornadoes, whatever. And, you know, you can contribute to this, and you know, it's something happens and somebody is in need, they're able to get the help. And then there is the Nathan Bedford Forrest Boyhood Home, which is in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. So these are things that you can contribute to. Remember, this is your organization, and it's going to do as our membership supports and does. You know, we've got, you know, we finished the year at just shy of 29,000 members. Right, you know, when we had our GEC meeting back in October, as far as dues coming in, we were already nearly 1,000 ahead of where we were last year. So right now, and I'll go ahead and tell you this, I talked to HQ, dues are up to date. If you send in your dues, they're being processed today. You know, there for a little while, everybody waited until August, pay their dues. And then we had a bunch of them coming in at the very ending part of August and first part of September. And then just a big rush of them. The HQ staff has gotten caught up. So if you send your dues in now, yes, you're going to get the $5 late fee, but per member. But you know, that'll get you caught up. But these are all the things that you can contribute to. An organization is going to live and die based off what the members do. Every organization is that way. A church dies when the members leave. If you're a member of a Masonic hall and you stop going to your Masonic meetings, and then you decide to go one day and you drive past the building and there's a for sale sign in front of it, guess what? You missed too many Masonic meetings. This organization is going to live and die by the sword, and the sword is our members. You are the voice, you are the strength of our organization, and these are things that you can contribute to, and you can contribute to what's important to you. Did you want to add something, Mr. Kennedy?
No, I was just looking at you got us up to date on dues. What about some past events we got going on? You want to talk about some of that?
Well,
I think it's important for our people to understand, and especially if you've got people who aren't SCV members, they just happen to catch us on YouTube or something else, that this is a big, active organization. We just don't sit around. We've got things going on. And if you don't mind, I got 3 photographs I want to show folks.
Oh, I want you to put them out there. I've already seen them.
All right, Moose, put up my one from the Howling Dog. I love this. This is the Howling Dog event, October. This is back in October, 16th Georgia Volunteer Infantry, and you can see that they've got a lot of living history going on. I don't know if that was a reenactment or a living history there in Macon, Georgia, but doing a great job of bringing our history to life, so the people who don't reenact, the people who aren't members of the SCV or UDC or the OCR, they can actually get a feel for our history, and that's great. And my high five to the Georgia folks at the in Macon, Georgia, for doing that. Also, I have a news release for immediate release. This is really great. Again, some more good news. It says, after 5 years since being vandalized, the city of Rome, Georgia, has replaced the soldier back on top of the Myrtle Hill Confederate Monument. And that's a beautiful monument. And again, the Georgia Division, a very active division. High five to Georgia. You've, again, done a great job. And again, these monuments can be graffitied all over. They can pull them down. They can do all kinds, but we can correct it and we can put them back up. And I still think, and if I ever figure out a way of getting a count, I think we put up, replaced more monuments, put up more large flags along the interstate than they pulled down monuments. So really what they've done is they sort of punched into the hornet's nest and got a bunch of mad Confederates who are going to take care of our heritage, protect our heritage. But again, another great victory in Georgia this time. And of course, this is happening all over. I pulled these from all the camps and not all the camps, many of the camps send me, as they do the Commander-in-Chief, copies of their camp newsletter. So this afternoon, I said, well, I want to show some good news things that are going on. And this next one is my favorite. I'll probably get the name wrong, from Kemper Fry. I'm not even going to try it. I'm going to have to get Moose to help me pronounce that. It's that Strother, 19. Strother. There in Madison, Virginia. And this, I love this. I think all of you are familiar with that picture of those 3 Confederate POWs up there. And that's very common. I've used it in books before as photographs. Well, down below is camp member Butch Brown, and he's holding it because all 3 of those Confederate soldiers are his ancestors. He's blood related to them. Now look, this says so much about who we are. We're not just some Civil War club. We are the blood relatives of these men. This is the reason we do this. Their blood, the blood of those 3 men, those POW, their blood flows through Butch Brown's veins right now. we are all kith and kin. This is, so you speak bad, you pull down a monument, you're pulling down part of my relatives, my people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's so important. And again, a high five to the Madison, Virginia. So that's camp number 19. Great job. And I thank you for sending me your newsletter. I don't always get a chance to get back with you and tell you how much I've enjoyed reading it. I also wanted to show, let's see, where did I see this? I think, this, my twin brother did his column for the January-February issue of the Confederate Veteran. Now, did you get yours in yet, Commander? I haven't either. I finished it. I hadn't sent it in yet. Frank's going to whip us both. But
yeah.
In his January-February article, he talks about how a House resolution was passed. This is a state of South Carolina. The House of Representatives passed on April the 6th, 2023, a resolution whereas the Confederate Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery was erected, and it gives a quick history of it, all the presidents that took part in it. And the House of Representatives of the sovereign state, or once sovereign state, of South Carolina sent this resolution, passed it, and sent it to all of their congressional representatives, and made it a public that they're wanting that monument, reconciliation monument, to be left there. And this is great. I think, let's see, who got this kicked off? Well, I'm afraid if I gave, I might give too much to one person, but several people in South Carolina was very, very involved in getting this done. Now, this is something I know that Louisiana didn't do this, folks. Did Tennessee do something like this in their legislature?
No, sir.
Every one of us should be. And this is the point I'm making is this is wonderful that what they did in South Carolina. High five to South Carolina. God bless you. Thank you for doing that. But it makes a point that's something that every southern state should have had a similar resolution pushed through their legislature. Now, they could do it because they had contacts in the legislature. They had what we in business would call networking. They had networked and developed lines of communication. They were able to push this through the House of Representatives in South Carolina. We need to be able to do that in every southern state. That's my aim. That's my goal, that we can have that kind of relations, that we can get these types of resolutions pushed through. And it's not politics in the sense of being involved in running for a campaign or endorsing candidates. That's in violation of our 501c3. But it is political. It is political in the fact that we are advancing the cause for which we were established. And that's within the purview of our tax exempt status. So we've got to be able to do that, folks. Again, that's a great thing. And I'm very proud of all three of these. And again, I could have brought 4 or 5, 6, a half dozen more, but I didn't want to take up the commander's time doing this. But thank all of you who send in those to my email address, your either your camp or your division newsletter. Jimmy Hill does a terrific job with the AOT newsletter. So if you ever get a chance, even if you're in the Army of Trans-Mississippi or the Army of Northern Virginia, try to get Jimmy to send you a copy of his newsletter. It's well worth the read. All right. Back to you.
It really is. And I'd like to piggyback off a few things what you just talked about. Let's talk about first, you finished up with Jimmy Hill and the AOT Sentinel. That is the Army of Tennessee newsletter. He does a fantastic job with it. And as far as individuals, camps, brigades that send me their newsletters, I read them. I see what people are doing out there. And I've actually taken a whole lot of good ideas out of other camps newsletters and go, you know what, that's going to be something good to bring to my camp. And look through it and I go, well, they do have a lot to go. They do have a lot to do. You know, and some of these, you can tell they have to be email only because they're 16 pages long, 28 pages long. And you go, okay, and they have stuff to talk about. And not only are they promoting the stuff they're doing, they're promoting stuff of the camps around them and their division. And it's a wonderful thing to see. And I thank everybody also for sending me their newsletters. They really are enjoyable. Now, there is somebody who put something in the chat, and I'm going to ask James Martin and it says, opportunities often arise suddenly. We have to be able to recognize them and act on them immediately.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to piggyback off what Mr. Kennedy was talking about. The individuals that did this in South Carolina already had their connections made, and they were able to make it happen very quickly. We pursued it here in Tennessee, but the session was ending, and it didn't get done. You know, that's really no excuse, though, that we can, you know, those connections ought to already be there, because we have to, the reason why we talk about getting ahead and being prepared is for when the occasions do arise. A lot of times you get that phone call, and I've got them, you know, I've been part of some of those, but we need to act today. We need to do this by the end of the week. We have to have this ready to go by the weekend. So that's the reason why you have to constantly always be prepared. And I want to thank James Martin for saying that, because that is a critical thing. Always get out in front of things. Always be prepared, because you never know until you know. We'll get back to some things that have been going on in the past events. We keep jumping ship. Now, I'll chase a rabbit. I think Mr. Kennedy here would chase a rabbit as well. And that's the reason why sometimes we run long. We'll get back to the GEC meeting on October that we had on October the 7th. Moose, if you will, if you'll pull up the ambulance that Lee Miller brought to us, the 51st and Camp 215 donated this. This is an original ambulance, at least the wheels and the metal. This was Forrest captured this at Parker's Crossroads. He had enough supply and he couldn't find the horses to pull it, so he left it in the man's field. The man pulled it into his barn to keep the Federals from getting it. After the war, he used it. Years later, his descendants, these men knew about it, and a few years back, they bought it from his descendants, I think back in the 1970s. Now they've had to do a lot of work to it, but it is an original Studebaker wagon from the time of the war, and it still has the Studebaker badge on it underneath. So the wheels and the metal and the base and all of that are all original from that. Now that they donated it. It is on the west awning, under the west awning. So when you pull up into the parking lot, you're able to see it straight ahead. Another call that I have gotten is a local camp here in Tennessee. They have an original forge and forge wagon. It's like the ambulance. The wood on it has all been replaced, because you just can't expect stuff that's set out and used for 150 or 60 years for the wood to ever stay. But it's mostly original forge. And what they're going to do is finish getting it ready, and they're going to bring it up and donate that to the museum. And that is going to be right beside the ambulance. So we have people that have donated, and we have people that are going to be donating in the future. Wanted to bring up one of the things that was talked about, the bricks and pavers. One of the things that we were going to do when we finished the Forest Plaza was put the bricks and pavers leading from the museum to the Forest Plaza. Well, we don't know exactly when the Forest Plaza is going to be constructed. As you know, we have raised $90,000 of the needed 150 plus thousand. So we're still a ways off, so we don't know. And we can't let these bricks and pavers still sit there. Our members bought these in good faith that we were going to do something with them and not just sit on the money. They want to see their ancestor memorialized. So one of the things that we have talked about doing was building a garden, a memorial garden right by the Jeff Davis statue. So these bricks and pavers over this winter, we're going to be putting down the bricks and pavers, and the GEC voted to do it, to put the bricks and pavers by the Jeff Davis Memorial Garden. So you're going to see that project get kicked off, and you're going to see the progress of that over time. And I'll keep you informed of that. But I wanted to let you know, because a lot of people ask about them, because they bought them 2 to 3 years ago. Some people were thinking that we would have the plaza up by now. And as it hadn't happened, we have to do something with them. We can't just sit there and sit on these bricks and pavers on our members' money. They gave us the money and bought the bricks and pavers with the intent of doing something. And we're going to do what they intended to do. That's what we're supposed to do. I have done some visiting around. I was recently in West Monroe, Louisiana. You ever heard of that place?
I never heard of it, man. I tell you, I do understand there's some strange characters up there, though. One of them being Dr. Sandy Mitchell, I tell you.
Oh, yes, I love Dr. Mitchell. I enjoyed visiting. It was several camps, I think 2 camps that went together to make it happen. And I think they were calling it a Northeast Louisiana Brigade meeting. And they allowed me to be the speaker. And I was truly honored to be there. Sammy Mitchell just come in and said there were 4 camps. And I tell you, it was wonderful. It was a room full. I was telling them before we come on the air, something wonderful happened because of this. I was up at HQ on Tuesday, and Adam handed me a letter, and it was addressed to the Commander-in-Chief, and it was talking about how wonderful this event was. And it was a great event all the way around. The food was good. The hospitality was great. The service was great in the in the restaurant. It was just a all around good gathering. They said that that's the first time they had to open the room and back because people were sitting in the room right behind there. So it was a great turnout, room full of people. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and speak. And Dr. Mitchell was the one that called me about coming, and I really enjoyed it. Then I visited and I brought greetings for the Tennessee Division United Daughters of the Confederacy. One of the things that I've talked about from the very beginning is the need of our organizations to work together. The sons need the daughters, and you know, without exception, all across our Confederation, every monument, every memorial that was put up by the United Daughters of the Confederacy. And my love and appreciation to them knows no bounds, and they have been fantastic. And when we've had events at HQ, they have always been there and they've always supported. And Tennessee United Daughters of the Confederacy, they were the ones that put up, I nicknamed her Connie. It is Confederate Memorial Hall. That was the sign that come off Vanderbilt University at the top of that building. You know, they erected it on the grounds of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. And, you know, it's the whole structure itself is 80 feet long, 7 feet tall. The letters together are 66 feet. You know, it's this beautiful structure that they put, and we dedicated it last summer. And then I asked me to bring greetings, and absolutely, I'm going to come and bring greetings. So I was able to bring greetings at Tennessee UDC, and there's a few things that have happened that have been very humbling. One of them was bringing greetings to the children of the Confederacy. That was a great one. And tomorrow night, I will be in Lexington, Kentucky at the National United Daughters of the Confederacy reunion. And I don't know if I'm going to get to say a greeting. I don't know what they want me to do. I was just asked by their President General to be there. So I'm going to be there in full support of the ladies and everything that they're doing. And it really is an honor to go and visit and be with them at their national reunion. And I'm humbled for that. And then, of course, if you watched Hearth and Home the other night, you found out that Adam Southern, who's the executive director, and I made the run to Jacksonville, Florida, to pick up some artifacts that were either going to be, he's got the picture there, that's going to be on loan to us. Some of it has been donated to us. There's some of them good old Florida boys. You have to watch out for them, you know, but they're pretty good old boys. The what we have on loan, and this is on loan, are the epaulets. That's his from Stonewall Jackson from the Mexican War, and there was a portrait of him as well. And then, of course, they donated the Shiloh diorama and there's the epaulets and the portrait that's on loan. And then the Shiloh diorama, I don't know if you have a picture of that. I know that was talked about in Hearth and Home. But just want to let y'all know where I've been going and what all I've been doing. And do you happen to have a picture of the Hardee statue? I didn't see one the other night. If not, I'll get you one to put on here where we can talk about it. It was a heavy joker. It took 3 grown men to pick that thing up to put it in the back of the truck. And I want to thank 1209, the Jacksonville camp. They're the ones that have been in support of this museum. And they've been in full support of this museum. And the museum the building is changing and they're having to relocate. That's the reason why we're getting stuff on loan. Some of it's going to be given to us, some of it on loan until they get moved to their new location. We're just a good depository for it and happy to have it on loan. And that's another museum that we're working with. So our museum is successful, and we're working with other successful museums. And I want to thank 1209 for all their hard work and diligence. They were the ones that alerted us to this, and then they were in full support down there helping Adam and I get loaded up. Moose, you ever heard of something called Beauvoir and fall mustard? In case you didn't know, I believe the Kennedy twins were at Fall Muster down in Beauvoir. And there they are with books. Now, these books are for support for the gift shop. They were selling these books for the support of the gift shop. They didn't walk away with the money, and they didn't pocket the money. This was in full support of the Beauvoir gift shop. Do you want to say something about how the book sales went, Mr. Kennedy, and anything like that?
No, I think we're running short on time, so I'm going to keep the Kennedy mouth shut for a change. I know that's shocking.
Oh, okay. So you need me to hurry up is what you need.
You got the
okay. Yes, you can go through the fall muster stuff. I was there. Past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney was there. And, of course, you can see the Kennedy twins. Yes, and, wow, the chair that I'm standing beside, 1209, made that for me. I went down there and visited with them one time, and they made that camp, and it says the Kirby Smith Camp, Florida, 1209 on it. And I have it at a national when we have some outdoor events, and I carried it down to Beauvoir, and there they are. So, yes, it was actually fun to be in a Confederate uniform again. I don't get to do that very often. We'll talk. Yep, and there's Larry McClooney. In case you haven't figured out, he's still trying to do the Beauregard thing. You know, talking about those epaulets, he needs to have some epaulets on his uniform, being Beauregard. Tomb of the Unknown, and just a bunch of people around. If you want to, just flip through it. I figured that was a great place to have that Hundley with the ocean in the background. Fall muster is something that you're going to want to do. And yes, Kurt Fields was there as General Grant. Kurt Fields, I don't know if anybody knows this or not, or how many people know he is an SCV member. And he's probably the only General Grant impersonator that is an SCV member. And he does a fantastic job. And those are just 2 old ramshackle boys. I have no idea who they are, but I'm pretty sure I want to stay away from them. In case you can't see it, that's a beautiful place. You can see why it's called Beauvoir. Yes, and we're going to talk about upcoming events. Mr. Kennedy's telling me I need to hurry up. Okay, I'm going to rattle off some dates. Y'all have your pen and paper handy. Okay, February 16th and 17th in Columbia, Tennessee. That's the Stephen D. Lee Institute. Okay, March 16th in Wetumpka, Alabama. That's the Alabama Education Conference. April 6th in Manfields, Louisiana. That's the Army of Trans-Mississippi National Event. May the 4th at the Southern Heritage Center, which is our National Confederate Museum in Elm Springs. That's what the entire property is called. On May the 4th, there's an Army of Tennessee workshop. And then we will also be having the pilgrimage and homecoming on that day. If you're going to come to the Army of Tennessee workshop, it is limited to 65 places, and you will need to get that registration form in as quick as you can. We'll make sure that it is up on SCV chat so you're able to get to that. So May the 4th, you're having 2 events there. Then on June the 8th, Fairview, Kentucky, at the Jeff Davis State Historic Site, the Army of Tennessee is planning their national event. And then last I talked with the Army of Northern Virginia, they're working on a place in Virginia to have this. They're going to be getting back in touch with me shortly, and we can go ahead and get that promoted for next year as well. Is there anything at this point that the Kennedys wish to talk about as far as the national promotions or anything?
Nope. I just want to make a quick comment. I see Carl Jones, my friend, said that he had no idea that Ron and Donnie Kennedy had written any books. And I just wanted to tell Carl that that's all right. I understand. Donald and I are doing a book that's total pictures and drawings, and he can then look at that. He has trouble reading, Carl.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We had to carry him,
Oh, yes. Yes.
I wasn't going to let him take that swipe. Yeah, let's keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving. Well, I heard on Halloween the other night that Carl was trying to trick or treat over the phone. But that's just a rumor I heard, and I'm not getting into it. Okay. Yes, I watched Hearth at Home and listened to him and Calvin Hart go back and forth, which was wonderful. Okay. Now, many people ask, when is the headquarters going to be open on the weekends? Okay, get your pen and paper. Okay, this coming weekend, November 11th, Veterans Day. If you're a veteran, you are admitted free. December 2nd, that is the Christmas home tours. You've seen some advertisement for that already. I've got it out there on Facebook. There you go. That's going to be the home tour, Christmas home tour. You're going to be able to come there, go to the museum, Elm Springs, and all of these other homes. That is the first weekend in December. Starting in the next year, January 6th, February the 2nd, March the 2nd, April the 13th, May the 4th, and June the 1st. Okay. Those are the weekends. That's the Saturdays that the Southern Heritage Center is going to be open. And I want to thank our Executive Director, Adam Southern, and the General Headquarters staff, because they're having to make adjustments for this to happen. And the staff has been very willing to do that. And I want to thank them for that. I would like to give you a very brief update on Arlington, although it's probably not going to be that brief because very little things I get involved with are brief. But I wanted to give give y'all an overall update on, well, how much has happened with the one-click politics since June 19th when we started. And that's when we started using one-click politics to send stuff out. We have sent 7,710 emails. So that tells me that our members and like-minded people have been using it. Where you're going to have another opportunity tomorrow. We have another comment section that is ending tomorrow. Now you're going to say, why haven't you got anything out to us before now? I'll get to that in just a second. But it is being prepped right now. It is going to go out on the Telegraph tomorrow. and it's going to be going out on One Click Politics. And you will have until 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time to submit your comments. You can take our comments as they're going to be placed out there, as they're going to be in that structure if you've used One Click Politics. We're going to ask people for one particular thing, and that is if you have not done it. If you have not done it. Now, we have people who have done it every single time we have asked them to do it. And we still want those people and would love for those people to do it. But there's people out there who haven't done it. Now would be the time, because we have sent so many. Think about it this way. If you keep getting emails from the same people, at some point in time, somebody's going to be looking at all of this and they're going to say, oh, well, that's coming from this Kennedy fella. That's coming from that Boshers fella, da, 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 da. But now what if you start getting emails from people who haven't done it? Then now is the time for those who strike to strike. If you put it off, now's the time to strike, because we need new emails from new people, in case somebody is sitting there and filtering emails. I mean, if you have Outlook, you can filter emails on who they're coming from. And, somebody can just sit there and filter and just say, well, it's the same old people giving the same old, How about new people? Get out there and do this, because that is going to look better for the numbers, but we still need everybody doing it, and we're going to need everybody to do it tomorrow.
And you don't have to be an SCV member. Your wife, your girlfriend, or both of them can give we'll lose members like that, boy, I tell you. No, but your next door neighbor, your mother, your father, your son, daughter, anyone can use this One Click.
Yes, and it's easy. It's easy. We've tried to make it as easy as we can, and we're asking everybody to step up. Once again, people always ask, what can you do? And we keep telling them this is something you could do. 7,710, that is a great deal. If it was 77,710, well, then all of a sudden we have a little bit more recognition, and we know they know us because they have talked about us in our emails that are going out there. So they're aware of what we're doing, and they're aware of us, and they're calling us by the right name. There's nothing worse than your girlfriend calling you by the wrong name. So, since we were talking about wives and girlfriends earlier. So we're asking, and this is going to come out tomorrow, and you're going to have to hit it tomorrow. Now, a lot of you are saying, why did you wait so late? Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's called the Vance Monument case, and this was actually put on by the 26th North Carolina. Yesterday, there was the oral argument with our attorney, or their attorney, an SCV attorney, before the North Carolina Supreme Court. An SCV attorney had an oral argument in the North Carolina Supreme Court yesterday. And now that we're waiting to hear on their decision, and that process could take months before they issue their opinion. Now, so we were heard, or the 26th North Carolina was heard concerning the Vance Monument case in the North Carolina Supreme Court. Now, I think that is a win in and of itself. So we don't know what the result's going to be, because they'll have to issue their opinion. The North Carolina Supreme Court's going to have to. But the fact that we were working on that, plus a few of the other cases that we have going on, we knew this was coming up. We had to get past this before we could tend to that. And one of the things that, just so you know, talking about Arlington, the SCV is filing its comments, and you'll have your opportunity to file the comments that we send to you through One Click, or you can just follow the link and go out there and make your own comments however you wish to do it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to ask you to, get involved in this. We're still looking for a heritage person from each division. And I think, Mr. Kennedy, do you want to say something about that?
No, go ahead again. And I've got several already, but I don't have anything like from every division. But Moose, if you've got the Confederate Legion web address, email address, if you've got that, run that by. So if you're a division commander and you have somebody that's your what amounts to your chief of heritage promotions, just have him email me, and be sure to put in the subject line heritage division heritage person, or heritage chief, or heritage officer. So when all these emails that come up, I can spot it right quick and put it in the file folder, so we can hopefully have a meeting at our national meeting. Maybe sometime we'll during the heritage luncheon or something, we can have a sort of a get together, so we'll be able to start working together. But it really will make a big difference. I'm not going to take any more time. We've got 3 minutes left, and you've got about 30 more minutes worth of stuff to go. So go for it, Chief.
Yes, sir. I'll zip through it quick as I can. I try to keep everybody up to date, and it takes a while. But yes, we do need a heritage person from each division. That will make this process a whole lot easier and a whole lot quicker. Then also don't forget about the Heritage Defense Fund. I talked about the opportunities for you to contribute. If some people like these heritage fights, they like going into courts and doing all that. If that's your kind of thing and you want to contribute to it, don't forget about the Heritage Defense Fund. Now let's talk very quickly about the SCV National Reunion, Charleston, South Carolina, July 16th through the 21st. First of all, the host hotel is full on Thursday and Friday night. A few rooms are left for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. The Saturday night harbor cruise has some room left. And on that cruise, they'll be telling you the history of it, and you'll be given the history by a local historian. The Overflow Hotel is the Residence Inn. It's about a mile away, and it will also honor the room, $149 a night room, and all you have to use is use the code SCV. Tours are filling up quickly. If there's something you're wanting to do, you'll need to book these up quickly. Friday, July 19th, it's the 125th anniversary of the United Daughters of the Confederacy Museum at the market. And it is open for free to all visitors who use the code SCV. So that goes to tell you, Rick Hall, who is herding cats on this, he was the one, I've been in contact with him today, and he's the one that just gave me all this information. Host hotel's full. I had somebody call me last night saying that they were looking for hotel rooms because they were booking, and they were full. I had somebody call me a couple of weeks ago and said they're full. Yes, host hotel is full for Thursday night and Friday night. If you wanted to stay Tuesday, Wednesday, or even Saturday night, see, one of the things that the reason why they're having the Saturday night harbor cruise is two reasons. First of all, there's some people that do not want to go to the ball and to the banquet. And another reason is it will help them secure hotel rooms because it'll give people something to do. They're not going home as soon as the business session's over with on Saturday or after the luncheon. They're going to be staying Saturday night so they can go on the harbor cruise, which also helps. If you've ever hosted a national reunion, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. This helps with the minimum number of rooms that you're going to be paying to book. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons for wanting to do this on Saturday night. There are two things. And he said there's some room left, but you're going to have to jump on that. And he said the tours are booking quick. So if you're looking to get into the host hotel, you're probably looking at the Residence Inn. I don't know where the Residence Inn stays as how full they are. If you contact them, they might tell you that they're booked. I do not know. So, was that quick enough?
Yeah. Hey, that's really good, man. You did good. We still we're 1 minute over time, and Moose said we can go a little longer. So if you got anything else you want to pontificate on, I'm supposed to be the MC, not the police chief. So
Well, it's and I appreciate everybody joining. I know it's a lot of information, and people who watch this episode, listen to this episode, say it's a lot of information that comes out. That's the whole purpose of this. When Mr. Kennedy and I talked about it, this was to come in and to let people know exactly what the national organization is doing, and so everybody knows. There are no secrets. It's just getting everything out there. People say, well, I didn't know this. Well, I've had people tell me, well, I didn't know this. Well, it's been in the Confederate Veteran magazine. We've talked about it on SCV chat. We've talked about it on Commander's comments. Where else can we go with this information? And I'm not saying anything bad, but if I'm a member, and let's just say that I'm a member of the NRA, I never read the magazine they send me. I never look at anything that they give me. Even though I'm a member and I'm paying my dues, am I informed? No.
Yeah.
And the whole point of this is to keep our membership informed. Informed.
Mr. Jack DuPont wanted to know what the approximately what our membership count is. I see in the comments. So are we?
It's 26,000. That doesn't include. I can give you a good number. Hold on a second. Since we got a moment, I'll look it up real quick.
All right. While you're looking that up, I just wanted to remind those who are in the Florida area. For some reason, they had a slip up, and they actually going to let Ron Kennedy be on Look Around Florida on November the 14th. So I'm looking forward to being on Look Around Florida on November the 14th. So if you're in Florida, take a listen. I'll be honored to be on. Now, did you get a count number while I was filibustering?
Yes, sir, I did. And I got it out of an email. 24,123. That does not include friends or cadets.
Good.
And that's about 1,000 more than where we were this time last year. We don't normally get that number that you hear on 28, 29, 30,000, because people will pay dues all year long.
Yeah.
And we will actually have a lot of dues come in December and January, because people will pay on the calendar year, not the fiscal year. Yeah. So but we're about 1,000 more than what we were this time last year. So that's our numbers now. And I want to thank Adam for doing something. He sent out an email, and this is what's important to be on the Telegraph. Right. Yes, you get the Telegraph post, but you also see this November at the Southern Heritage Center email, which is everything that has happened in October and is going to be happening for the year. For the remainder of a few months of the year. And it's something that Adam and I have talked about and we've been working on, is what can we do to keep our membership better informed? We can't put it everywhere, and it's, I think some people would prefer that we called them. Well, can't call 24,000 members, so it's, some of this, go to your camp meeting, if you're a newsletter editor, put it in the newsletter. This information that I just gave you, if you want, if you don't know, you didn't get to write it down or whatever, send an email to scvyouthOutreach@gmail.com and we'll get it to you. All of the dates that everything's going to be open and all the things that we have going on, so you can all stay better informed. And that's the whole point, is for all of us to stay better informed, so we're better prepared when things do arise. And as we all know, the main problem with anything is communication, communication, communication. If you're talking and you're communicating, you're going to be doing what you should be doing. It is when it doesn't happen. You have a brigade commander that doesn't put the information down. You have a camp commander that doesn't send the information up. You have a camp adjutant that doesn't send the information up. And I just wanted everybody to know that don't forget about the 990. The 990 will have to be done. It has to be done regardless. Some people say, well, no, you have to be worth so much money or spent so much money. No. You have to do the 990 regardless. And go ahead and get your 990.
Right.
Sir?
Don't upset the IRS.
No, sir. Get the 990 done. Get the 990. You have, I forget how many days is it past the filing point, but it's due like December 15th or 16th. So go ahead and do it now. Go ahead and get it in now. You have to do your 990. Anybody who tells you that you do not have to do the 990 because you don't make enough money, they're wrong. You have to do the 990. Now, if you one of these big camps that chews through $50,000 or $100,000 a year, you're not worried about it because you already have a tax accountant taking care of it. It's your average camp that just does a little fundraising and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You only chew through a couple of $100 a year, you still have to do a 990. You have to. So we're going to be, there's one of the things that the GEC did. We voted to put something out to get everybody to do their 990s. That's going to be coming out. Then first thing a lot of people are going to say, well, we've never done it. Well, there's going to be some procedures that we're going to have to go through with that. And all of that's going to be coming forthwith. So,
and will that come out on the Telegraph or how?
Yes, sir. It'll come out on the Telegraph. It's going to be of course, it's going to be too late past this point by the time it makes it in the Confederate Veteran, but we're still going to have to get it out there just for next year. And, yes, we're going to have it everywhere because it's something that you have to do.
Well, on that pleasant note, talking about the IRS, our favorite federal organization.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
When did the IRS come into existence?
Let me
and
see.
Why?
I think the income tax came into existence thanks to Abraham Lincoln, and they had to have agencies to make sure people were paying their money. Thank you, old Abe. We appreciate that. One more reason why we should have won that war. All right, Commander, we are now 10 minutes past our time. I want to express my appreciation to everyone for tuning in. All the comments, I've read them all. I couldn't make comments on all of them. David Pope said it came in 1862. I guess that's when Lincoln needed more money for that thing. But we do appreciate all y'all tuning in. Commander, thank you for all you're doing. We appreciate you. And with that, Moose, we are signing off. Y'all stay Southern.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here.